Never settle. Those words ring in my ear each and every time I try something different, something new. I realized those words when my dad was telling me about them and what he was trying to instill in me by giving me those particular words. You see, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Matter of fact, I was born in June 27th, 1975, in Florence, South Carolina. Not a big town by any means. Big enough for some, not big enough for others. But it's definitely a town that, as far as what I'm concerned, is not one that you want to stay with for the rest of your life. Being born there is a whole lot different than the whole growing up there. See, I ended up moving up north to New Jersey when I was 4 years old. Stayed with my grandmother up until I was 4 years old in Florence. Moved to New Jersey at that point, and at that time stayed in New Jersey till I got to the ninth grade. Um, Second grade, I was supposed to try out for the Boys Choir of Harlem. Instead, I wanted to go out and play kickball with the fellas, and um, that's one of my regrets to this day that I didn't ever try out to see if I would ever make it. A classmate of mine, a good friend of mine, ended up did making it to the Boys Choir of Harlem and went on to do some big things. So that was one of my first regrets because I settled to go outside and play. Then came middle school. I decided that I wanted to go to art side. I didn't want to go to the public school. Wanted to do something different. I was big into the whole singing, music scene, and so I applied for a scholarship to go to Arts High in Newark, New Jersey. Went through all the auditions, went through everything that entails. It was long, very long process, and I finally, at the end of it, I made it. I made it. I was so proud when it was announced that I had won the scholarship. The school was proud of me. Everybody was proud of me. Well, almost everybody. That was pretty short-lived because 2 days later, found out that we were moving back to South Carolina. So I had to go back and tell my guidance counselor that we were now moving to South Carolina. And so since we now moved back to South Carolina, that means now I have to start all over again with everything that I was doing. So, needless to say, my love for graphics came though from South Carolina. Decided to take this class called Graphic Communications. Decided to take it because I wanted to take driver's ed, but it was full, and graphics communications was the only class that was not full. So I decided to go ahead and take this class. Didn't realize that one class and that teacher, who was Mr. Hayes, was going to change my life forever. I absolutely love graphic design. Started off with the Macintosh box on PageMaker, and from there I've been doing it pretty much ever since, and I'm still doing it to this day. To the point that I decided I wanted to go to school for it. Now, of course, before we get to me going to school for that, I had decided that I wanted to go join the military because I wanted to see the world. You know, I wanted to see the world, and I also thought that would be a good way for me to get some college money. So I did the military thing, a full 8 years, 4 years, 4 years of active duty and 4 years of reserve. And after that was done and over with, I decided that I was going to go to school for graphic design. And of course, that never materialized to finish because life happens after that, doesn't it? I got married, had two beautiful daughters, Brianna and Kiera, got divorced. All the while, I still had not finished school. And at that point, I was just doing various odd jobs. At that point, I did everything from being a host at Denny's, to being Top Cat, which is the Cinemark mascot at the Cinemark Theater. So I've done everything in between security guard. Um, just it's a lot of stuff. I've just done pretty much everything. So we get to be deciding to come back home. Um, got a job working for a insurance company, and at that point I had to come on back to home when I found out that my father was diagnosed with cancer. So moved from Texas, moved back to South Carolina to be with the family for that ordeal, and he ended up passing away in 2009, which was really hard on our whole family. But it also taught me that we need to do everything we can while we're here, because we never know when our time will be up. Going back to never settle, that still was in my head the whole time. Never settle for less, never settle. So now I wanted to go back to school. I decided at this point that I wanted to be a nurse. You know, my sister's a nurse. So I said, hey, I think I can do this. I could be a nurse. So I decided I was going to go the route of becoming a certified nurse's assistant, CNA. Let's just say that that was a short-lived aspiration, because I could not stand being a CNA at all. I did that for a whopping 3 months and was relieved when they asked me if I wanted to become the transporter for the facility. Well, all I had to do was drive around the patients to their doctor's appointments, and I was happy to do that. From there, I became the activity transporter, where I took them to all of their activities. And at that time, I was working for a nursing home, and actually the company itself had 3 different nursing homes, and I was the activity transporter for all 3 homes. So I really did enjoy that, but it was boring, and I wanted to do something more. So the position came open to become the activity assistant. So I became the activity assistant for Oak Haven Nursing Home. And I enjoyed it. I loved talking to the seniors and doing things with them and all these activities and everything with them. But I felt myself settling because they wanted me to become an activity director. So they was already sending me to school. They would have me going to these conferences, and I was settling. I was content. Hey, I could live with this, right? I can do this for to retire off this, right? I could. But then something happened that changed all of that. I got fired. I got fired. Came in one day and was told that I was on the internet too much. I don't even know where it all came from. All I know is at the end of it, they said that I had to be let go, which turned out to be the best thing that could have happened to me. Because at that point, I decided that I needed to go back to school. I realized that I was settling, and I need to go back to school to do what I wanted to do. So I wanted to go back to school for graphic design. So I began looking into that. But at that time, I was like, you know what? I'm getting too old to be trying to go back to school, and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do another 4 years, another 3 years. Look. I just need something that's going to be quick and simple. I'm tired. I don't want to go back to school for take all this time. So I was trying to see if I could finish up my graphic design that I was taking while I was in Texas. Well, I looked them up. They said, yeah, you can, but you have to come back to Texas to finish that degree. At that time, that wasn't an option. So I said, well, I really want to go back to school. So I decided that I was going to go and maybe take up something else. Just use the courses I've already taken. Go ahead and take something else. So I decided to go ahead and go to the International Academy of Design and Technology for digital media. I was going to get my bachelor's degree in digital media, and it started off good. But all of a sudden, they were starting to say that my transcript from my high school was a fake. Well, they didn't come right out and say that, but that's what they were implying. Because they could not understand that, and I was trying to tell them that my high school is no longer the same. It's not named the same name. It's named something different. But the transcripts are still from the same place. And I never had that problem with anybody else, just with that particular school. And I think it was all because that all happened for a reason as well. That was not the school I was meant to go to. So I ended up leaving them because I was like, if they couldn't get it together, I wasn't going to put any more time and effort into a school that's pretty much they couldn't even get it together with my transcripts. So from there, I started looking online for schools that I could go to